Hello friends, I'm Rocky Outcrop. This is Chainlink and Tezos Technical Analysis. It's a Monday, it's a new week, it's a new month, it's new everything. Let's take a look at the prices and see what could be going on, where they could be coming from. What will we look at first though, Chainlink or Tezos? I have a raw plug here in my hand. They're the things that you put into holes in the wall so that when you put a screw in, it's got something to grip onto. Let's flick it. If it lands pointing anywhere in that 180 degrees, we're going to do Chainlink first. This 180 degrees, we'll do Tezos first. Let's give it a flick. It's pointing that way. We'll do Tezos first. Thanks so much for joining me. So friends, here we are back in the charts looking at Tezos. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're looking at Tezos versus Bitcoin and Tezos versus dollar coin here today. Different sort of shape up in the story of late. Now, what's happened in the last wee while was we saw the prices go down versus Bitcoin as they went up slightly versus the dollar, although not with a lot of gusto, okay? Now what we've seen is the prices have gone down versus the dollar while they've gone up slightly versus Bitcoin. Confusing picture? Yes. Amortization between the differentiation that we had on the charts before? Also yes. We want things to go back to being kind of more like parity anyway. So this is somewhat to be expected, but also a bit of a biznatch. Let's look then at the charts. This is the 1 hour. That's not going to be good for anyone. Start off on the 24-hour time frame here, and you can see this was our most positive case scenario for us in terms of Bitcoin pricing, and we've sustained this so far. The dream still lives on. Looking here, we can see this fallen wedge distinct, and then with a movement up the way. It's not a massive measured move. It truly isn't. Let's just take it from here. Oh, that anchor thing is so annoying sometimes, isn't it? I think I got it though. I think that's pretty much cool, yeah. So up to here would take us up to the 1768 area, 60% move off of it. It's really realistically more like up towards that 1600 area. Regardless, both of those up above the 236 of the Fibonacci retracement. Movements above 15,500. Very much positive for this thing. And then, of course, we can be looking towards a different sort of story, if you will. But currently, we're not there just yet. And until such times as we're above it, this remains invalid. What we have here is low followed on from low. Bringing up the oscillators, you can see this is, convergent more or less. Same again here on that one, and likewise convergent here. What we have is that it is crossed over. The ADX is crossed over the DI negative. So there's that at least that is that positive here in terms of those things. We also see it coming in and whacking off 40, this number that of course is sort of the Rocky Outcrop addition to the DMI indicator. This has not come from J. Wills Wilder Jr.'s interpretation or any subsequent person thereafter. This is just Rocky Outcrop here, but there you go, up there off of the 40 here of this thing, and it's come down since. So yeah, there's that. We're also went into this sort of oversold. Of course, this is again Rocky Outcrop, not J. Wills Wilder Jr. who invented this or any subsequent so-called analyst thereafter. This is me, and you have it from down here moving up the way. So there is that potential for us things to go well. The potential, I almost said there. If you watch along with the show, you know that quite often I say perhaps instead of perhaps. There I said potential. Nice. Good pun, Rocky. Thanks, guys. That's what we're looking at with this thing. We've not got any forward movement on it yet to really report, other than the fact that we've moved sideways. Things are potentially happening the way we said they would. Let's just revisit this again tomorrow and see. This is the inverse story that we're talking about when it comes to the Bitcoin, the dollar pricing. We've had this upward movement here. Bitcoin downward movement distinctly. But over the last couple of days, we've had this downward movement. Bitcoin, slightly upward movement. So Tezos here against the dollar. And we're down below the 195.236 area. I want to see us retaking that area. I don't need, this is speaking for itself. This here is the same as what it has been over the last couple of days. This is the areas to be looking to: 195, 205, 213, 213. 23. Those are positive targets that we have in mind. Movements down below there, you're looking back down to 180 again. We've been down there enough in the recent past, have we not? We've come in, tested off the lower line of, or the lower warning line even, of our pitchfork. Hopefully things kind of ameliorate themselves slightly. We have, of course, hit off of this green line again today in the price action, this green line we spoke about last week, and we find that that is coming in for support. The lows today, 187.67. Let's see if we can turn this around, get back into this pitchfork again, move up the way. I want to see some of that. We're not seeing it quite yet. We do have a tapering off of the price of this trend here, moving down from the 30 line down towards the ADX. Let's see if the ADX can, go into chop or whatever. Let's see if there's some change in behavior. That's what we're looking for in terms of that one. Plenty of distance to go until we make it up towards, other 236 targets we had in the past, which is actually, positioned wrongly now because of this recent low. So we're still a ways. $2 is going to be a nice 236 for us if we want to do this sort of pitchfork area in terms of our movements. You know what? Am I tempted to move this anchor point over to here instead? I am, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it just where it is and talk about it until such times as we don't talk about it that way, because I have the other pitchfork anyway that we're looking at. This is speculative. Everything that you do in terms of this sort of stuff is speculative to an extent, isn't it? But let's leave that one. So we're doing okay here. We do have the potential for a turnaround. This is strength of trend is in place. We've got a key area for managing our risk laid out anyway. 186. Moving down the way. We've not looked at the HitBitis chart in a while. This is whilst it's a bit of a scam exchange, possibly. I don't know. I'd say Coinbase is a definite scam exchange, by the way. If you like, I've got a referral code for it in my description down below. You get a tenner, I get a tenner, all that good stuff. It's a scam though, so watch out for it. It's not really a scam. It's actually pretty authentic and trustworthy. It's just that they have outages whenever the market gets to peaks because they want to rip people off. And well, I understand that. It's not a regulated industry. They get away with it until such times as they don't. Over here, HitBTC, the charting for this thing has always been pretty dandy. If we look here, we've got a Fibonacci that I've drawn in from those peaks over there in August down to these lows that we've just had there at the end of October. That's kind of the inverse to what you have with regards to the Bitcoin pricing recently, when we've looked at the highs in August to the bloody police. That's the sexy police. They keep trying to catch me because I'm so damn sexy. They can't find me though. They have to use other things other than dating apps to come and try and find me. That's their problem. They can only really get to, within 1 mile, and then the information's anyway. We're looking at the 240. I went on for too long there talking crap. The difference between the exchanges has completely ameliorated over time. The 236 to be looking out for is going to be 239. That there is the key area. 240. That probably makes sense when you think back to the price action we had around about these areas, and you see that coming up perfectly and touching that one then as if it knew here when it was putting in this high that this would potentially be the next low. That's as if it knew that. How could it possibly have known that? Maths and stuff and robots and algorithm and traders and whatever. Anyway, that would be lovely if it worked out that way and we could see that. Otherwise, we'll have to revisit this because it doesn't look good, right? Otherwise, not great. I mean, what are you wanting to do here in terms of broader structure? You've got anything there to anything there, and that none of that's good. If that's including information from the summertime. Ethereum. Tezos Ethereum. We're going on to Chainlink, by the way, in a minute. Thanks for your patience. If you've just been waiting to see that, you'll see it. It's always about halfway point in the video anyway when I flick between one and the other. Big old triangle-y, wedgy jobby here that's towards the downside and the potential to be breaking out of it now. Yeah, we're pretty much at the apex of this thing. Of course we are. There's various different ways of having this drawn in. There's one of them, for example. We've managed to sustain ourselves within this triangle still. This just keeps on going on and on. At some point we'll get a breakout from this on the oscillator down below. Lower term time frames, did we see any sort of anything jumping out at us? A lot of chop there on the ADX or the DMI down below. a lot everywhere. Unhappy performances. It's only when you get towards the 12-hour time frame that you see anything of note in terms of this post volatility downward period. This is losing its luster. It's not divergent, but it's losing its luster with this downward turnaround at the 40 there. It would be nice to see it moving up the way. Of course, is again the same story here in the 24-hour time frame. It's just, we're at that point. There is a strength of trend. But do we see this happen or not? Let's see as well. Did this come in divergent? It didn't. Our recent lows. So yeah. Again, like I've been saying for ages, more or less at the mercy of how this performs versus the dollar. Meanwhile, how the Ethereum performs versus the dollar. Check out my Ethereum videos today for that. Could be interesting in terms of this thing. If this were to get a measured move, it would be yowza, wowza, fandabi, dozy, tasticky, fantasticky, schmasticky. But let's look up towards 0.0068 608 68 for that one, and move on to the of course as well, by the way, taking out 46, let's call it 4646464646 is going to be really, really bad. Taking out 6868686868, very, very good. Okay, Link. Hi, thank you for joining me for Link. My name is Rocky Outcrop, and of course you maybe have arrived here having skipped the first half of this video. If you have, go back and watch it. There's always good lessons to be learned there. Of course, you might be joining me having just watched that part, and you're looking forward to seeing the Link part 2, in which case, thanks so much. Let's just dive on into it. And we'll start off by looking here at Link versus Bitcoin. What did I do in last week's episode? Well, I got rid of this pattern that was here, and I was, for a number of reasons, one of which being that it was implying too much of a measured move for us when it didn't actually really kind of strike me as being that something that was definitely going to happen there. And then we're now in here having put in lower lows than we had previously, as opposed to higher lows, which would, conform with that pattern that I had on there before. Quick reminder, it was something like this. Are we breaking out of it or coming back in? Is this just a retest of it? Well, that's what remains to be seen as yet, and we're going to do that looking at other things instead. First off, we are above the 786, right? No, we're below the 786. We want to see this 83k area be recaptured by the price action. It's not happened quite yet. We could put in another wick here, come back up. We need to see the prices be able to take out this 10 exponential period moving average, move into this pitchfork yet again, and continue on with that story that we've been describing, or the prices themselves have been describing actually for the longest time. As yet, it's not happened. What we have here though is a stochastics coming down here, and it's not as low as it was previously over there on the 21st of September, which isn't that great a shock considering that the prices were much lower. But what we do see here is that it is lower than it was previously in this other low, and indeed also lower than the other one, so that's kind of convergent. What do you have here on the RSI, however? This previous low and then this low, and we're very much bullishly divergent there. It would be nice if this RSI bullish divergence came into play. What we see here is that there was definitely a degree of potential volatility in store up here at these highs. Came in, did that. Would it be nice to see these go back up and test the top areas again? Sure would. Totally possible with this 24-hour chop period. Moving down the way, you can see that volatility actually getting highlighted in the background on the 12-hour time frame for us. So that was obviously handy if you use my free indicator tool. You have as well here this DMI sort of directly going towards the downside, the ADX here, in this period of consolidation, whilst we have this chopping over of the crossing overs, we have this negative. If you're going to be inclined one way or the other, you could be inclined more towards the negative side, looking at the positions of these as we go through the time frames there quite clearly. I didn't know that that's the way it would be. I ad lib all these episodes, by the way, if you haven't realized already. It's just that that's what it looked like it would be to me. I hit the buttons, it turned out it was. That's why it sounded like I'd planned it out in advance. I hadn't actually. I'm just doing it like this. Like and subscribe. But you can see that's why you'll learn these things yourself in time. It doesn't look good. It looks negative, if anything, overall. With this current structure, we could have bullish divergence, though, very much in the case. And that might be nice to see. We're going to have to judge that using small sort of levels. How about instead of getting too carried away, let's go to the 4-hour time frame and look at these levels here, where it's as defined by these moving averages, which are the atomic nuclear numbers 10, 18, 36 and 54. Could we see movements up past these? Well, sure we could. Who cares about the could we and the probabilities of it? Instead, let's acknowledge the fact that if we do move up past these sides of things, we could see across here, as we saw the very much pointing towards the top side. 10 period was wanting to cross over the 18 here, but didn't manage to do it. Another move up the way could see both of these come up to try and cross above our higher term time frame gizmos, and that's all going to involve encapsulate a move past 85k. Of course, if we were to do that, to be able to take out the 10 on the daily and on the 12 hour, the 10 and the 18, and then on the 4 hour, the 10 and the 18 and the 36, and then on the 1 hour, all of them. And that's the scenario. In fact, here we have the inverse of that, where we see the yellow crossing down over the green, which look, both of them are going towards the blue and the pink. We want to see, this is the battle between these two. Further movements down the way, we'll see these extend out down the way and of course translate across the higher time frames. Further movements in the opposite direction to ultimately to become something looking like that. Further movements in the other direction could see them and then of course it remains in that stance. We want to see them crossing over towards the top side. That's going to give us our quick indications. 87, so our two targets towards the top side, 93, 87 and 93 at the minute. Of course, huge distance away. Look at that, 5%. 15%, massive. Trading this towards the downside, the target that we've had for the last couple of weeks still remains in place. The 886 in there at 72, or indeed the zero number back where our previous lows were. Pretty sure I have a Fibonacci extension kicking out somewhere here. Oh yeah, there it is there. The 382 of this one in there at 65. If you're looking for a subsequent target thereafter, we could as well just look down towards the 1 point on this one for now in terms of a key pivot for us at 79,000 and seeing if this becomes a thing or tall or not. Or not the 236, sorry. As you can see here, the 236, let me just make this more visible. 236, make it orange. There we go. So movements down past that key pivot for us. Bitcoin, that's Bitcoin covered. USD pairing jumping out at me first. Pardon me, first thing I see here. Volatility is waiting in the wings, is coming on stage soon. Be sure to expect it. Looking down the way, 12-hour time frame, that's not visible, but there's still kind of actually is pretty much visible there. The 4-hour time frame, chop potential, but actually still got strength of trend. More than 20 on the ADX with a negative move down the way, coming right down to our the ascending triangle area here, if you like. But the combination of this yellow line and the blue line makes an ascending triangle in this area. Clearly, that's actually just this wedge / channel towards the top side that I've got on the go here. But you can see how you can make that comparison. 1033 still a downside target that we've had for days. If you're looking for a really key entry point, bear in mind this here would be fake out territory for a movement down the way. That's why you would have a low risk movement off the back of this one. If you were to be trading it, movements down past here are very negative. Did I reiterate, by the way, the 82828282882 area here is being important, just like how in Tezos it was 282828282882. I should have done. Anyway, it's important. Then looking up the way, of course, taking out 1170 key area. So 1170, big target, 1170, big target, 1033. Ideally, we don't go near 1033. Turn around from this point here, our upward sloping support line at 1060. Those are our targets. 10.6, 10.3, 11.7. Those are our targets. You can look out here for divergences and stuff yourself. Hidden bearish divergence, yes. Bullish divergence, potential. We'd need to see closes 30 cents down from where we are now. Don't think anybody wants to see bullish divergence. Like they'd rather just take the hidden bearish divergence, and hope it doesn't play out and not get bullish divergence and still see a move towards the top side would be the healthiest outcome. In terms of that one, this big wedgie thing, are we breaking out of it? question mark. Answers come in the form of movements down past our fake out territory at 10.75 and all the stuff we already spoke about. Answers in terms of targets and taking profit come in at $9.50 and $8.20 if we did get a measured move down the way from this thing. Is it possible? Yes, it is. Is it a bearish pattern? Yes, it is. Have we gone down past the 236? Yes, we have. Where's the measured move come in at? The 618. Oh, that's lovely coincidental movements for us. So is that a target? Yes, it is. Would very rapidly disregard any positions I was holding on to if I was long in it from those areas of 1060, 1030, etc. Unless I was, specifically trying to trade those areas specifically. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Yada, yada, yada. Taking a look then at Link versus Ethereum Bobs. And what do we have here? Oh, gosh, this thing, I mean, it just keeps on giving, doesn't it? Will we see the prices of this move up past? And again, key area for us, 28, 28, 28, 28, 28, 28, 28. Where is the key area for us to move up past in terms of, at the minute? Well, the prices right now are at 28,521. The prices went down as low as 28,284. So the prices went down to that 28, 28, 28 area today. And we want to see them, sustain themselves above that, move up the way and try and take out 28, 82, 28. 2828282882828282. And then of course we'll be back inside of this ascending triangle area. Very much could be a good thing at that point. We've got a low in here which is bullishly divergent, divergence here on this thing. I mean, look at the mess we have. Look at the presidential election line coming in here, by the way, the date line on this one coming in here, very clear. Apex this thing, volatility outside of it. In the run up to this zone, we've got this broadening structure so far. If there's anything you could say that about it, you could also just cut off all the wicks and stick it in here and say that that's what you're looking at as a channel, whatever. We've come to the bottom side of it. None of that's any more useful than what we already had on the chart. So screw it. This is happening. Volume dropping off, but it has got peaks on there just at this point here, increase in volume and dropping down the way. By the way, that's what I forget to mention sometimes as well. If you're looking at this and saying that you're playing it as a move, you'd be looking to have no increase in volume as at the time. I mean, this is obvious to me, and my channel is a blend of teaching and all the rest of it as well. So I tend to forget to say things every single time, which is for the benefit of the viewers, because if I said things every single time, it'd be too repetitive and people wouldn't get entertained enough and they'd tune out. So it's a tough one. It's a bit of a dichotomy you have to struggle with there. But if we were to see prices come down here and the volume was not to be picking up at the time, then of course we would not be so anticipatory about a move down the way. Of course, if it slid on down the way whilst we had a sort of gradual, then that would be one thing. But what we want to see as well is the volume, if it is to kick in back again, have movements above this line should we need to see it, or indeed movements above this line or this line, etc. That's going to do for Ethereum, for the Link Ethereum pairing. And that's going to do for Tezos and Chainlink today in total. Yes, good. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. I'll make myself nice and big here as I say bye. Bye. Oh, aye, like and subscribe and tell your friends. YouTube.com/Rocky Outcrop. Best technical analysis on the internet. Yes, by a country mile. Most undervalued channel, just 1,900 subscribers. Yeah, crazy. God, unbelievable. See ya.